pocket-sized journals themselves have a cuteness on their own, but when you add layered windows and elements and depth, it gives the journal a whole new look. Do you agree? If you would like to see how I set up these beginner-friendly Dutch doors, these layered windows for my pocket-sized journal, you might want to stick around. What's up everyone, this is Priya here. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning. And if this is the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Here I share tips, ideas and inspiration to make your planner and journal spreads pretty and functional. This was the pocket journal I have been using, and this is my husband journal, as I call it, because you guys helped me name it. And this is the last setup I have on here. This was the waterfall tabs tutorial that I had done, and I will have the full playlist attached. And this is where we are, and these are craft papers in this journal. So these subscription boxes are some unique items that are from Arch and Olive, especially from Arch and Olive. They have the habit of testing out new products and new items they might want to include in their product line for the future. So the craft paper in a pocket size was the first of its kind, to my understanding. And you can use my code Priya10 for 10% off at Arch and Olive, Planything, Live Love Posh, the washi tape shop, and a few other shops. I'll have all that information in the description for you. And I have a few tapes from the washi tape shop also out. And I'm hoping to do this as a very beginner-friendly tutorial for total beginners. And I have my usual tools. And I also pulled out a couple of my stencils for different shapes. As you can see, this is quite a small journal, quite petite. So there is not much space to waste. So let's get going with our setup. And I also pulled out my washi tapes from Live Love Posh. Most of my washis from Live Love Posh are here. And there is more coming. There are like tons of products coming in early June. So stay tuned for that. An amazing release. And I'm also making sure I have all my supplies handy, as in the rest of the pens or the glue tape. And then I also pulled out some of the black and white washi tapes. And let's see, let's take out the small trinket holder. That's exactly what it is. And I thought that would be better to hold everything in place, because these tapes are like rolling all over the place, which can get really frustrating after some time. I also have these set of washi tapes from the washi tape shop, and I don't end up using that, but let's get started. And if you'd like to see such creative ideas to try for your planners or journals, please make sure that you're subscribed to my channel and you turn on the bell notification as well, so that you can be sure you do not miss out on any of the fun ideas that I'm sharing. And this again is a very, very small size. Just as the name suggests, it's perfect for the pocket or your handbag. And you can see how I'm using that black and white washi to kind of make a frame right there, so that we can have the window, and we will add the layers inside there. So that is the thought process. And you can use any stickers, any brand, any tapes, any of those, especially the smaller ones. And I will be using the bigger scissors and the smaller scissors for sure, because we need both of them for tight spaces, for smaller spaces. I think the smaller scissors come in handy. And you will also see how I'm decorating only one side of the Dutch door, which I don't quite do most of the time. And I intentionally wanted to do that because this is a very beginner friendly tutorial, and I did so because I wanted you to not have that pressure of finding the symmetrical elements and having to go through all that extra work, decorating the back side of the page as well when you do the touch toes. So that's my thought process. So that's why I thought, you know what, let's just decorate the front parts and call it a day. And this will be, I almost got started with this, but do you see how much space it took? I could have edited that part out, but I wanted you to see how a normal sized sticker would look in a pocket sized journal. You see what I mean? So I wanted to make sure you understand the size because watching the video does not give you a full idea of how small or how tiny the journal is. So these are, again, unfortunately not available, but for most of the new designs from Archer and Olive, they have the option available for you to pick if you wanted a pocket sized journal in that particular design. Having said that, I would also like to point out that early May, in the first week of May, in fact, Arch and Olive came out with their summer drop, summer release, and it was stunning as always. So it is still available. I just checked right before I started with the voiceover, and you can have most of the designs in pocket size as well. So if you are curious to jump on this train, then I would suggest that you grab hold of a pocket sized journal if you think this is perfect for you, because this would be somewhere you can take on the go. You can maybe go sit down in a park, or you're somewhere just going for maybe a brunch with your friends, and you take this journal with you. You just have very limited space. So before you know, the pages will be full. So it's a great way of expanding your creativity or expanding your kind of trying things out until you get to your actual planners or journals. You know what I mean? And this role is the Aurora house, which was actually gifted to me by the washi tape shop. And this has lots of such cute, perfectly sized images. And I'm just sticking to one particular role only because usually I end up combining different roles, combining different sticker books and washi tapes, and all of those are just non existent because I'm just keeping this a very beginner friendly tutorial. And this is going to be the next layer because if you noticed, she will be standing right there next to the girl who is sitting. And you see how such smaller components come in handy. And let's now layer the washi tape to make sure it is fully visible because we want that layered window effect, right? So let's see, we might actually scoot it up a tad bit, and we will definitely trim the washi around her walking shoes. And these washi tapes are all from Live Love Posh. And this, I believe, is part of the Tropical set, which had come out a couple of years ago. And I also want to make sure that I bring in a wider washi for the top because I honestly do not want to have, I can always go and add multiple lines, but I hate to see that much more of the washi being used. So I'm using a different roll, which is also from Live Love Posh, and that I think works better. And I'm going with this washi for the other edges. And before you ask, that paper clip, I'm using that vintage arm, that lady arm, is from Journal Say, and my code Priya can be used. I'm not sure what Memorial Day sales are happening around the time you are watching this video, probably. Nothing has been announced. Most likely, the washi tape shop has their best sale, which is 18% off site wide. So that usually happens, and I will have all of that information for you. And Live Love Posh, to my understanding, will also be having some kind of sale towards the Memorial Day, if not towards the end of the month. It will most probably be for the Memorial Day. So that is going to be a very busy shopping weekend if at all you want to kind of stock up for your summer essentials. So that is our next layer of the window, the next Dutch door. And you must be thinking, it's already a tiny book, it's a tiny journal. And if you are going to cut off those pages at the top, you will not have much more room to write. That is true. But for the creativity and the freedom of trying new things, I think it's okay if we let go of some of the writing space. And the bottom is all going to be functional. So this is the next Dutch door. I just trimmed off the washi tape at the bottom near her walking shoes. And I'm going with this Gyro Cut Pro for the cutting, and the dark blue gyro cut which I used to trim around the shoes was an older one, and that's a gyro cut, the OG one. And you may ask what the difference is if you are somebody who is not used to this tool at all. The difference is a much more versatile blade with the Gyro Cut Pro, whereas the other one, the OG Gyro Cut, still has a good variety of elements the blade will cut through, but this is a bit more versatile. So you have, maybe you want to incorporate some mixed media stuff into your projects, then this will be your best buddy. So there goes our next Dutch door. And I think it is coming out very, very, very cute. So you see how I'm picking the elements for the doors. If you are ever wondering how to get started with this paper tool called the Gyro Cut, I have linked the original tool as well in the description, because there are tons of knockoffs in the market and you do not want to get the dupes. It makes a world of difference. So there is the next Dutch door we are getting started with. And I also have a very beginner friendly tutorial for the gyro cut if you are wondering how to get started. So there is our next Dutch door, trying to make sure we have a straight edge there. And the tweezers are really helpful for such tasks. And I did like how those patterned black and white washi set looks. And I'm trying to scoot it all the way up to the spine. And it's always a thought process when I have to make sure that it is fully visible from the front. I might change my mind with this one later. And I'm going around and making that window for that actual frame to work with. And let me know if you have done something similar. And if you are wondering how to get me to try new things, then maybe drop a comment as to what you would like me to try next time. And if you are interested in having a say on my channel, please make sure you check out the membership options. I have the details in the description, and it's a lovely group of folks who are there to support me. So they get access to my videos early on. They have exclusive content that I share. They have access to polls, which I put out, especially when I'm undecided or confused on what theme or what sticker. So that is it's like an inner circle, and it's similar to Patreon, but it's here on YouTube, so that we will have a great community going. Again, see, I don't like when I have to use up multiple layers of the same washi. And why don't we try this black and white stripe washi, which is also from Live Love Posh, but it's from a few years ago. And I think that's perfect. Let's do that. So you see how the process just unfolds. I'm just going to take that washi cutter, which usually works better for wider washis and for thicker washis. If the washi tape is too thin, sometimes you do run the risk of tearing it at places you don't quite intend to. And let's see, we need maybe one more girl. And I think that's a good place to start. And we also have all of these houses and other smaller components which we can use. And there are the bushes and shrubs and the potted plants and all that as well. And as you can see, these are all pre-cut. So it's perfect to just peel and stick. You do not have to worry about having to cut them out separately, which I think is a big time saver. And let's see, we have some of the other smaller shrubs. And you see how that just builds all those layers? A lot of people are really skeptical when it comes to the craft paper journals. And some people, especially the folks who love the bright colors. If you are a neutral lover, I think craft paper journals are perfect for you because you already have that neutral, soft background for you to work with. But for those of us who love the bright colors, I think the white pages makes all the difference. Do you agree? Just let me know in the comments. And you can see how I'm now adding the last Dutch door. Let's use the paper clip. And we will now come back to making sure I have the self-healing cutting mat all the way to the spine so that we can have some clean, crisp edges for the windows. And you can always come and add actual windows that are done, like the pre-made. It could be the ephemera, or it could be just the stickers, the PET stickers, which I think Journal Say has, and I have quite a bit in my collection. But I wanted to try something out of the washi tapes, which I do often, but there are always newer techniques you can try. So that's why I wanted to do something like this. And there is our next Dutch door. And I think that looks really adorable together. And some of these elements will need to be carefully picked now because we have very limited space in the back, and at least the roof, I believe, should be visible from the front, right? And this is going to be the next element, and we will have what else? Let's see, we will have that. And I think that is a good place. We might actually have to trim off a bit of the chimney, but I think that's fine. Or, yeah, the chimney is safe. The roof will have to be trimmed off. No biggie. Let me know what do you think. Because adding the layers can be tricky, especially when you have such limited space. And I'm going with this washi tape now, which is also from the black and white washi set. And don't worry, I will have all the names of all the washi tapes and the washi tape sets, and all of those supplies I used. And if you're looking for inexpensive items, say the washi tapes, I think the sales are a perfect way to stock up, as I mentioned, because Journal Say usually has some kind of sale going on, and my code can be stacked on top, which is an amazing deal always. And the 18% off at the washi tape shop and Live Love shop, Live Love Posh, can't even speak, I guess. Live Love Posh also should be having their some kind of sale happening. I'm not sure Planything does, but Happy Planner will definitely have. Let me know if you have ever worked with a craft journal or a blackout journal, because these are two kinds of paper which a lot of people get intimidated with. And it is not as hard as you think. You just need to think outside the box. It's easier said than done, right? But still, I would like myself to try different things because that way we keep ourselves challenged. We get our creative juices flowing. And I do have a playlist for the blackout journal as well if you are wanting to try how some of those go, because Arch and Olive has blackout journals as well. So I had to just test it. So I come and do something creative in the blackout journal. Once in a while, I've tried paint. I have tried washi tapes. I had tried paint pens, the calligraphs. All of those are paint pens, and Uniball has some paint pens. And if you are somebody who loves to draw or paint, I think the craft paper and the blackout journals will slowly end up being your best friends. So let's now see how we can layer some smaller components right behind all these girls standing here. And I think those layering is what really pulls the spread together. And there are so many smaller components like those clouds and smaller bushes and shrubs and all sorts of elements that you can possibly bring in. And again, this is a very beginner friendly project. Let me know how you're enjoying it. And we also need to go and set up the left side of the page, which will also have some layered components. And these are, yeah, those clouds and those shades are so adorable. And that's the advantage because you can already use those elements to balance some of the colors we have going on the pages. And normally I would turn the pages and decorate the back sides as well. But here I'm just deciding to skip that part because, anyway, this is a very personal space for me because this is where I come and add small things that my husband did, which may not look like a big deal in the big picture, but small moments are what matter, right? Memories are all always built around small moments, small things. Like he helped me with the sari when I was trying to drape myself for a school event. And if you have worn an Indian sari, it's like a long piece of fabric. And I have, my collection is growing, and I do have enough evening wear saris in the sense that something that's not purely shiny, but it does have a bit of a shimmer and some evening wear components like silver zari or something of that sort. If these are all, if this vocabulary is all Chinese to you, I'm sorry. These are just accents and decorative elements that we have on our saris. So the silver zari really looks amazing for evening events. For school events, that's what I usually pick. And for graduation events, summer concerts, and those I just stand out. That's what I have felt because I've heard a lot of my friends who compliment me saying for the evening events, if I have worn silver zari saris, I do. People can spot me from afar, especially with the right light reflecting off the attire. It just lightens up the whole space. So small things like that. I just totally deviated from what I was saying. So all of those small things, it does mean a lot because sometimes some saris they don't quite listen to you because you'd have to really have the creases straight, otherwise it's all wonky sometimes. It just comes with practice, but for most of the time it's not a problem. But once in a while when I do, my husband is there for my rescue. So those are all small things, but it does matter a lot when I look at it. And so small things like those, small moments in my life where my husband was my savior and he was right there for me when I wanted. So this is a journal for that. So I don't need a whole lot of space, and it is just um, it's more like a gratitude journal kind of setup, but not quite that. And I'm trying to focus on the small things that happen in our lives. And you see how I'm trying to pick elements which are slightly bigger than the elements I did for the right side of the page, but I don't want humongous houses to be standing there because, yeah, that would look really wrong. And I'm placing it very carefully there so that we can have that look perfectly in the space we need. And I think, yeah, that's perfect. For 2 pages, I think it came out good. And then after that, you can't really predict because there are elements that come out in different spots. So that girl with all the plants are right there. And I think she has some really cute plants. And we will also bring some of the shrubs and trees and some of the grass patches that are already there. And something that can fit into the space we have. That's all I'm looking for. And please come follow me on Instagram. I do share more spreads and more sneaks, even if they don't quite get YouTube videos. And there is always something creative that I share on my platform. So please make sure that you are subscribe to my channel and you turn on the bell notification as well so that you can be sure you would not miss out on any of the fun creative setups coming. And that is how we are picking our last few elements. And I do have various sizes when it comes to the journals that I work with. So this would be the smallest of the lot. And I have B6 journals, I have the A5, which are both looking to be the more popular sizes. B6, I think, is slowly gaining popularity because I think it's the size again that attracts a lot of people because you have lots of flexibility when it comes to having it on the go or quickly noting down something that you want to remember. Something of that sort could be the reason because A5 previously used to be the most popular size. And you can see how this single pre-cut washi tape roll I've used up very limited number, even though you might think it is a whole lot. So that is what we have. And I debated on whether I should go ahead and add boxes, but then decided against it. And I'm also trying to trim off some of the stickers and washi going off the page because I really would love to use my corner rounder once I've done the initial set of trimming, because not all the washi tapes are super thin. So if it's too thin, the paper rounder does not do a good job of trimming around that. So I'm taking 2 pages in one go and trimming the corner, or rounding the corner rather. And I have linked everything I'm using, including these corner rounders, so that you can get started with your journaling right away. Because I usually have my corner rounder for most of my projects, but lately I've tried reminding myself that I should let go of that feeling of perfectionism. And this is somewhat our final product, and I think it did come out much cuter than I expected. And it might look like a very busy spread when you look from the front. And if you are worried about the washi tapes lifting, or if they are old at all, just use the elastic closure to hold it down and just let it be for a few hours and it should be fine. So I'm back to trim off some last minute elements that I saw going off the page. And with that, we should be done with our setup. Let me know what you would have done differently if you were to try something like this in a pocket journal. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.